Welcome back. We return to that exclusive investigation breaking here on 8 p.m. Prime. The price of medical help, just how corporate hospitals in the national capital just refuse to treat the poor, breaking the law and medical ethics.
Well, for viewers who are just joining us, let's take you through some of the big points of that special investigation here on 8 p.m. Prime tonight. This is a CNN, IBN, Cobra Post sting operation on top private hospitals in Delhi that expose just how they fail to honor their social responsibility. This sting operation shows top private Delhi hospitals not treating the poor for free. These top private hospitals, remember, get their land cheap but are evading their social responsibility. 7 top private Delhi hospitals are turning away a critically ill patient in need of dialysis. Before we play out the second part of that special investigation, let's listen into the reasons, if one may, the various hospitals had to offer to shrug these patients, these poor patients off.
वो बोर्ड आप पढ़ सकते हैं कहीं बीपीएल कार्ड के बारे में नहीं स्कीम है जो गवर्नमेंट ने दे रखा है इन लोग सहूलियत स्कीम का मतलब ऐसे नहीं कि आप आए और हमने देना शुरू कर दिया कमेटी है हमारी कमेटी अप्रूव करती है ये रेशन कार्ड में आपने जो नहीं राशन इनका घर संगम बिहार का एड्रेस है इनका घर संगम बिहार में ही है संगम बिहार में ही है लेकिन इनकी वाइफ को अटेंड करने के लिए क्योंकि वो अकेली लेडी है 2 बच्चे आप नहीं समझ रहे हैं ना इस रीजन का आते हैं इसका रीजन पे नियर बाई जो हॉस्पिटल है जो प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल भी होते हैं जी 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 उसमें कहां पर ईडब्ल्यूएस सेक्शन के लिए इलाज फ्री.
And remember, the man responding to those questions there is not a junior employee of that hospital. He's a medical superintendent, which means he's one of the senior most officials in that hospital in charge of ensuring not just the law is followed, but also medical ethics is subscribed to. But now to the second part of the CNN, IBN, Cobra Post investigation. It doesn't stop with what we've already shown you. Let's take a look at more hospitals which just refuse to treat the poor.
Saroj Devi's husband was turned away by every private hospital he had visited. With both kidneys damaged, Saroj needed dialysis urgently. They entered South Delhi's posh Rockland Hospital, where they were sent to the additional medical superintendent, Dr. Siddharth Mishra.
नहीं उन्होंने बोला है कि हमारे पास सारे भर गए हैं तो आप अब किसी प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में चले जाइए वो रेफर करेंगे आई लाइक टू द वेरी कांसेप्ट ऑफ जो प्री बेड का सिस्टम है वाई जो अकोमोडेट नहीं हो पाते हैं उन लोगों को प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में अकोमोडेट करके तो गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइडिंग सर्टेन इंसेंटिव्स उनको प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा तो उसमें द रूल इज दैट द गवर्नमेंट एनी गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल जो यहाँ पे हैं दिल्ली में दे हैव टू रेफर यू टू अस.
The law is clear. Private hospitals must treat a below poverty line patient for free, even if they have no reference, especially if beds are vacant. Using RTI, we confirmed that 11 beds at Rockland, meant for the poor, were free on all 3 days that Saroj's husband had gone there. When we approached the hospital, the director admitted that Dr. Mishra was from Rockland, but the hospital refused to give any official response. Even GM Modi, another South Delhi hospital, didn't care about Saroj. It took several visits before the medical superintendent sent Saroj's husband to the dialysis department.
Dr. Khan says it's the government's job to treat poor patients and not theirs. He also adds that the GM Modi hospital is completely full of poor patients. But this RTI reply reveals that the beds meant for BPL patients were available on the day that we approached the hospital.
8 out of 10 beds were free on 26th July, 1 bed was free on 16th August, 6 beds available on 30th August and 6 beds vacant on 10th September. But the medical superintendent of GM Modi maintains that the hospital was filled to capacity.
We have got 5 machines which are operational. 1 machine is always under maintenance. So effectively there are 4 machines and we are running 4 shifts. So they demand that the first we should be doing their case. And we have got getting all the patients from CHS and everywhere.
This is the Pushpavati Singhania Research Institute, which calls itself Asia's largest super speciality hospital for kidney diseases. But they didn't have a 4-hour dialysis slot for Saroj Devi.
अभी यहाँ हमारे तो फुल लगी हैं, जितनी भी मशीनें सारी फुल। कुछ चांस नहीं मिलेगा तुम्हारा, कोई और किसी हॉस्पिटल में देखे
सर। मतलब कुछ आगे कोई आशा
हैं?
कुछ आगे होप रखे हैं, कुछ आगे होप रखे हैं?
ऐसा है ना बेटे, अगर कोई मान लो कोई हमारे जितने हो रहे हैं उसमें से कोई मर गया या कोई छोड़ के चला गया तब हो।
Pushpavati Institute has 32 dialysis machines, all it seems reserved only for the rich. Saroj Devi was told to check in 3 months if beds were available. But in fact, on that very day, on 16th of August, all of their 11 beds meant for the poor were lying empty. The hospital authorities have now apologized.
अपने स्तर पर यह करूंगा कि ये व्यवहार सुधरना चाहिए, ये सबके साथ सुधरना चाहिए। अगर हम किसी को उपचार नहीं दे सके तो उसको सहानुभूति तो दी जानी चाहिए, और दूसरी बात यह है कि गलत बयानी किसी लेवल के ऊपर नहीं होना चाहिए।
At Delhi's Batra Hospital, Saroj Devi had already been turned away twice, citing lack of beds. When Saroj's husband went a third time, we went along.
कि भाई डायलिसिस का जो कोटा होता है वो फुल से ज़्यादा पे चला है, 2 मिनट वेट करिए, ठीक है जी। और इसमें हमें कोई छुपी हुई बात नहीं है, ये खुली बात है, ठीक है। और कहीं से कोई क्वेश्चनिंग भी आप करवा लेते हैं नहीं सर, तो ये हमारे पास सारे स्टेटिस्टिक्स हैं, मरीज सारे हैं जो भी कर रहे हैं। लेकिन डायलिसिस हमें करनी चाहिए, हमारा ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं है डायलिसिस करने का, फिर भी हम डायलिसिस करते हैं जितनी करनी चाहिए, उससे ज़्यादा चल रहा है।
But RTI papers show that beds were free when Saroj's husband approached the hospital. On 5th August, Batra had 35 beds vacant for the poor and 29 beds on 27th August and 1st September. Under the EWS scheme, Batra Hospital has 50 beds for the poor.
अपने पैर पे बेटा कुल्हाड़ी नहीं मारते हैं, समझे? नहीं सर, मैंने तो उनको बोला था डॉक्टर ने पूरा मेरे पास 50 एप्लीकेशन रोज इस तरह के आते हैं, रोज 2 बार सर मैं आपकी डेट पे आ रहा हूँ, जब आपने मेरे को बुलाया तो मैं आपको बताया। हो गई कहानी पूरी, और कुछ नहीं। आप क्या चाहते हो, मैं इस पे नोटिंग डाल के वापस इन भेज दूँ? नहीं सर, आपकी जैसे मतलब मैंने अगर एक बार नोटिंग डाल दी इस पे तो यहाँ तो तुम्हारा नहीं हो पाएगा। तरीका होता है बेटा डील करने का, और मैंने इनके सामने बोला 2 नहीं 200 लोग भी आ जाए, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है।
The CEO of Batra Hospital, however, maintains that the hospital is doing its best.
Batra Hospital for the last 25 years has always stood for accessible, accredited and affordable healthcare. And given the fact that there are patients who are already on dialysis machines, and if a patient comes in acute emergency for dialysis, we obviously cannot accommodate because there is no bed at the time in the dialysis machine, which is free.
This is a real patient in critical need of treatment. And these are real doctors in Delhi's top hospitals, who one after the other, showing utter callousness in utter defiance of the law, shut their doors on a patient only because she could not pay. It was in November that Batra Hospital finally agreed to treat Saroj Devi. She is now getting dialysis thrice a week. The next step is surgery, and hopefully this time, Saroj Devi will get the medical aid she rightfully deserves. With Raju Gupta, Asit Dikshit and Sarla Rawat from Cobra Post and Smriti Advani in New Delhi, this is Divya Iyer.
Remember, these hospitals are supposed to treat the poor not because they have to perform charity, but because they got the land cheap from the Delhi government, giving them the assurance that they will treat the poor. Joining us tonight on the second portion of that string, returning to the show, is Delhi's Health Minister Kiran Walia. Then we've got Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty, cardiologist from Narayana Hrudayalaya, joining us from Bangalore. It's a hospital which treats especially the poor. We also have with us our correspondent Divya Iyer, who's been tracking that story very closely. And also with me in the studio is lawyer Ashok Agarwal, who is on that panel for monitoring these hospitals appointed by the High Court of New Delhi. Ashok, let me come to you first. I just saw you smiling as you heard the defenses given out by some of those doctors. Does it alarm you that this is what these doctors actually say about not being able to treat the poor?
No, it is very unfortunate. These hospitals have taken land on just a throwaway prices, and these are 70s, 80s, and for all these decades they have not treated even a single patient. I have come across hospitals who have themselves approached the government saying, give us the land, we will provide free treatment to the extent of 70%, and they have not even treated a single patient. And even they have gone to the extent of paying patients in the name of poor patients. They have even collected money from foreign donors, and they have also collected money from public enterprises also in the name of poor.
Right.
So this is very serious thing that these hospitals are getting so much subsidies and other things and not giving benefit to the poor.
Right. You too had filed a case in this regard, and you're on that monitoring panel. Just why is it that a mechanism like this doesn't work? I'm going to come to you with that question, but I need to get Kiran Walia, the Health Minister of Delhi, in here, ma'am, because as we play out this investigation, many of our viewers are writing in on our website here, telling us that we're possibly letting the government go off rather easily on this front. The question to you, ma'am, coming from the people in Delhi who are watching you, these are hospitals who obviously believe that if they are caught, they possibly have powerful friends who will bail them out. Is there truth in that? What are you going to say to the owners and the CEOs of these hospitals who have powerful friends, possibly politicians, people in the government?
We'll have to ensure this compliance. Otherwise, we have already cases going on in the court. We will make this a test case that here was a BPL card holder who was refused treatment, who had been refused treatment. So we'll have to go in a little more evidence, and we can definitely take up this case very seriously. I'm one of those persons who would even call these so-called CEOs to my office and make them accountable. They are bound by the law of the land.
Certainly, ma'am, you're making the point that we're making as well, but the fact remains, how is it that the Delhi government remains unaware of the goings-on? Just take a look at some of those excuses. You saw the report that we played out. Beds nahi hai, aap Bihar ke hain, you don't have a BPL card from Delhi, we don't have to take you in. You have to have a referral. That's another. These sound like well-rehearsed replies. We're talking to senior officers here, and it isn't a one-off case. As many as 7 top hospitals in Delhi are saying pretty much the same things. These are senior officers like the medical superintendent. It's some kind of a unwritten rule, it appears. What can the government really do? Are you sending out a tough message? Doesn't seem to be the case.
When we're talking of law, there's the other side of the coin. Because those BPL card holders who are entitled to this benefit have to be, in most of the cases, be residents of Delhi. But however, the court in some cases, we'll have to study this in detail. The courts in some cases have said that these could be poor persons from across the city also, and no court can return, any patient who in a critical condition. That's not allowed. In Supreme Court decisions, that's the law. You cannot send back a patient.